everyone, and welcome to my live weekly show. I am going to chat with you a little bit this week about why your pins on Pinterest are a big piece of your results. And that is something that I kind of get asked about as to, how you get results, how do you create, how many pins to create, what type of pins to create, how often do you schedule, how many do you put out per day. And those are all different nuances that you do tweak and you do get better with as you roll with your Pinterest strategy and you get a little bit more familiar with what's working, what's not. So the one thing though that it boils down to, doesn't matter how many pins you're putting out per day, it's really going to be relevant to your niche, to your audience. That's what it's going to be specific for. But what it really, if you kind of take a few steps back and look at the foundation of it and what's most important, and if you guys hear anything today, my kids are upstairs, they're having breakfast, so we're starting our morning routine and starting our day off here. But anyways, if you bring it back to what is most important, it is that you're found in your results from the keywords that people use to search. From that search, people are presented with pins in the feed. And from those pins, people will make decisions on whether or not they're going to either keep scrolling, they're going to look at the pin a little bit more closely, or they're going to click through and see a little bit more about what you and your business are all about. So, that being said, the first thing I wanted to talk about as to why your pins are super important to your overall strategy on Pinterest are number one, you stop the scroll. So your pins do the work a little bit by stopping the scroll in the first place. So I mentioned before, people type in the search bar what they're looking for. So you use those keywords to get found, but it's not enough to get found with keywords. You have to pair the keywords with the images. And so those images initially will stop the scroll and standing out. So creating those pin designs that are a little bit more eye-catching to your people are what's going to get them to stop and take a closer look. From there, it's not enough just to stop the scroll, but the pin design itself has to paint the picture for your person or for your people as to what the solution is. They have to see themselves in the results per se. So it's not enough just to throw a bunch of designs out there. You have to figure out what designs really work for your audience. And by painting that picture, they can determine, what's in it for me. If I take 2 seconds to look at this pin, to click to your website, what am I going to get? Or is my time better spent keeping scrolling on and looking for something else? So that's kind of your make or break moment where from Pinterest, you stop their scroll, you catch their attention, but then they have to see themselves in the solution. So that comes from the imagery that you use on the pins, from the design that you use on the pins, from the copy that you use on the pins. So they know exactly what's on the other side of that pin and what they're going to get. And then the other thing is making sure that when you throw out more pins or you're creating more of those designs at work, you are building that know, like, and trust factor with your people. You are building that awareness, you're building that authority, and likely somebody who is searching on Pinterest. So if you put your feet into their shoes and you walk their journey a little bit, when they start their search on Pinterest, they're in search and discovery mode. So they may see one of your designs or one of your pins initially in one search, decide that, it's not quite for me, and then they go back to Pinterest and they continue searching. But if you have a consistent strategy where you're showing up under multiple keywords, you're showing up under multiple searches, you have multiple different designs and pin images out there, they might see a different version of your pin or a different design or a different piece of content that you've published on Pinterest, and they see you again under a different search. So they start to build that awareness of who you are through those designs and through the images that you're putting out there, and not just putting them out there once or twice, but putting them out there consistently so that they are consistently showing up to the right people when you need them. So that in a nutshell is just how your pin design is such a big piece of your results on Pinterest. It really boils down to the keywords that you use and using the right terms and getting found for the right terms in your niche. and how those keywords align with the solution that you provide with your offer. And then creating the right images that capture the attention of your people. And this is where creating multiple different templates, multiple different types of images on brand, and even testing off brand colors and images, you will start to capture more people, because what resonates for one person may not resonate for another person. So it's really about figuring out what works for your people, what resonates for your people. And you'll see some of that in your results as you start to look at your analytics on the back end of your Pinterest account. You'll see what pins are doing really well from month to month to month. And then starting to create more of what's working for your audience. And then also figuring out what you can learn about maybe what's not working. The results do surprise you, and they can surprise you, where you think a pin that is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful may not resonate and may fall flat on Pinterest, whereas a pin that you think it wasn't as maybe tuned in, it wasn't one of your favorites, but it does really a lot better for the people in your audience. And so everybody is different. Everybody is going to approach their problem differently. So really being able to tune into what is working, what is resonating for them, and then continuing to do more of what works for your audience. So I hope that was helpful for creating your designs and why your images are such a big part of your results on Pinterest. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to drop them below. And also I have for you, if you're interested in learning more about just getting kind of set up and started on Pinterest, drop an emoji below in the comments. I can send you a free Pinterest profile kickstart guide. It's just the top things you need to do to get your business account up and running. And there's a couple of video tutorials that go with that. So just comment below, drop an emoji below, and I will send that over to you. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will be back next week with more tips on Pinterest. Have a great day.